Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and this is kind of part 3 in this sort of made in America, made in your face kind of theme that I've been working with. But I also thought I'd add something, maybe become part of my videos, I don't know. But oftentimes I'm doing all sorts of tasks and I haven't put the tools away. And I thought I'd mention one just to show you what tools I did use. I just replaced the drain pump on a dishwasher. It was a nice $1,000 LG dishwasher. And the only thing wrong with it, as far as I could tell, was the drain pump bearings were going out, probably because water got, a seal slowly disintegrated over the decade it's been in use, and then water got into the motor, and it was making an awful grinding sound. Apparently it's pretty common. Ordered the part, pulled the dishwasher out, flipped it over, and started taking it apart. So first of all, this was super handy in getting the compression fixture water line off from the main pipe, simply because I couldn't reach in behind very easily where the connection was because of the way it was installed and kind of retrofitted in an old house. But I was able to grab it with this from a distance and use the ratcheting mechanism on that compression fitting, which is essentially like a hex nut, and slowly work it loose till I could get it off. I couldn't have done it with an adjustable wrench, or at least not easily. I don't think I could have done it at all when I think about it. So that's a win there, and you know how much I love adjustable wrenches, so yeah, it's hard for me to say that. This was another. There were 3 hoses I had to deal with. Each one had kind of these spring-loaded hose clamps on it, and this worked out great. I wish, though, at some point I had like a little locking mechanism, just a little button, just like, when you lock spring-loaded pliers closed, just something that would hold it closed, because, I needed 3 hands to get 2 ends of the tubing on while hanging on to one of the compression or one of the rings, the hose clamps. The reason I didn't need 2 is because one I could move to the center, but it was like an elbow bend, and I could only slide one of the hose clamps out of the way because otherwise I couldn't make the bend if they were layered on top of each other. Anyway, so this was ideal, absolutely perfect size. Another thing, of course, this came in handy for doing all kinds of stuff, and it did there again. But I used this one, and this angle and the length actually came in handy because I needed to pop out a heating element, and a regular pry bar, mini pry bar, since I didn't have much to work with, wouldn't have been long enough. And this actually was perfect for kind of sliding in and slowly prying, and eventually I actually used it backwards to pry it out. So this worked better than one of the small ones. And lastly, I was down there where I had some 3/8 sockets, and I had this driver with me, and it was too big. I couldn't, just to get in there. So I had 3/8 sockets already going, so I grabbed this little Koken stubby. This worked great, especially with a 12-point socket, since I was kind of wedging it between lines and wires and stuff to get to a particular nut that needed loosening. Normally, and it was a 10 millimeter, normally I might have grabbed this if I had known ahead of time what I was in for, but rather than grabbing a new set of sockets or something, I would just grabbed another driver. And people say nobody uses Koken tools, they own them, but they don't use them. Well, I used this one. Anyway, back to my topic here. So this is a Vaughan 10-ounce ripping hammer, and if there's anything we know, it's 10 ounces is plenty for any decon project, right, when you need a ripper. However, there is a big, this is just wrapped on here, you can remove it, a big made in the USA wrap here. The 2 things I want to point out, obviously we've talked about flags, we've talked about made in the USA, but there's 2 more elements now. The first one, if you look at this, it says drop forged US steel. So it's putting a refinement on the materials rather than, global materials, etc., or assembled in the US. They are now separating that out, so there's 100% USA, or made in the USA, and with US steel. So that's something to think about. The other thing is, how many times does it say USA on here? So we've got right up here on the hammerhead, and this is one of the good ones. This is the Little Pro or something like that. Beautiful design. I have a couple of Vaughan hammers. old beat up ones, but this one's been on my list. I like this 12-ounce Est-wing here. This has been my kind of my smallest really functional claw hammer. You notice it's got the highly curved claw versus the kind of the straight or ripping claw. But it's also heavy. It's a metal handle. And I wanted something even just a little bit smaller, but beautiful crown there. Nice finish work on that. I mean, it's just an outstanding hammer. But we've got USA made. Number 1 here, obviously number 2 here, and then it's got drop forged in the US. I'm going to count that, and 100% made in America. I'm going to count that. Look at that grain. That is just, I mean, that's perfect. You know, the alignment is just outstanding in terms of the grain. Yeah, I guess maybe it could be 2 degrees more, but closer than about most hammers. So then I started thinking, well, what else is kind of taking that marketing one more step beyond just where it's made? And Channel Lock has right here. This is the new Nutbuster, or old Nutbuster, the 410. It's been around a few years. So first of all, counting it, what do we have? We've got on the tool made in USA. There's 1. We've got forged U.S. steel. There's 2. We've got 100% made in the USA. That's 3. It has connections to U.S. Things, organizations, projects. I'm not going to count those. So I've got 1, 2, 3 here. Flip it over. On the back, obviously, this I tore this because I ripped it out of the package. I was getting ready to use it and see how it compared up with that. But anyway, a couple of other things down here. This is part of one of the projects they're involved with, the Homes for Troops. But it actually has the U.S. flag. Not going to count that one. It's just there. Up here, made in USA. So there's 4, right? So we've got 1, 2, what was the third on here? 3. That's on twice. So there's 4. But then they take it one more stretch. Oh, also, where are we? Thought there was one more on here. But anyway, one more right here. If you look close, not only is it they got the American flag and made in America, but they've got the worker here, Todd Fleet, Ford shop, 30 plus years, Channel Lock service. So there's an actual picture of a Channel Lock worker, an American Channel Lock worker. So that like takes it to the next level where now it's getting personal. This guy may have actually made these pliers, you know, maybe. Anyway, overall, I like what Channel Lock does. These are completely different. I'll get into them later. Completely different than the Raptors. Similar design. I'll talk about that in another video. But let's go back to Vaughan. So Vaughan is doing all the Made in America stuff. Well, except when it's not. And they make, if you go to the website, it's a huge deal on the website. Oh, by the way, let me do this one real quick. Made in USA on this Milwaukee screwdriver. USA on the packaging here, embossed in this plastic retainer ring. USA here, and one more USA if I turn it over. So there's a USA on that side. So there's plenty there. I think that's 4. So 4 or 5 is the record, depending on what you want to count. But anyway, back to Vaughan. They make a big deal about USA made. They also have some English or England made tools, and they make a big deal about that, having it in all caps. But here is a Vaughan Rage. It's all dusty there. It's the Rage. This is another decon tool. It's, bending, you're straightening studs, breaking studs, decon tool, pretty hardcore. They expect you to put a nail in that and then pound it in with that. I can't stay on target very well. But anyway, it's a good short decon tool. However, here's the hang tag for it, the 0542. And if you look close, it says what? Well, look right down here. We've got made in China, And then you've got Vaughan officially licensed product. This I could not find on the Vaughan website. So apparently they're proud enough to slap their name on it, at least on the hand grip here, but not enough to put it on their website. And it's made in China, and it's like officially licensed, like what, the NFL or something, you buy in a baseball cap. Kind of interesting. So it's, I guess I put that in plain both sides. They are using their name, their good quality name, you know, that we all know and love, USA made, but they license the name for a Chinese made product. But then they don't mention that anywhere on the product. In fact, the only place, you know, is on the bottom, very last line down here, and they say it's officially licensed. So that's kind of interesting. This isn't a very expensive tool. I don't know how much it would cost, but looking at the price of some of the Vaughan stuff, especially the California framing hammer, I think they could build that in the States without a lot of trouble, maybe a few bucks more. Oh, by the way, it is cold here. In fact, it snowed in the mountains near me. You know, they're white, and my beloved Beartooth Pass is closed for winter conditions at the moment. So enjoy your warm temperatures wherever you are. But anyway, I thought I'd bring that to your attention because I guess the number of times they're saying something about the U.S., including the flag, maybe I could count that as 2, as well as playing the side of using their good name, their USA name, for other products. Now, obviously, Snap-on is notorious for doing that. There's a ton of Chinese-made Snap-on objects, mostly lights, knickknacks, kind of the trinkety stuff, the plastic stuff. Usually it comes in cardboard boxes. You know, it's stuff like this, this magnetic tray. It's fine. It's great. But if you grab the box here, you know, a lot of the stuff that is all boxed up, does it say? Made in China, but it's a Snap-on. I don't know. Anyway, so there it is. Some more food for thought. I really like Vaughan hammers. I like this little ripping hammer, 10-ounce ripping hammer. It's the smallest one I've found. If you know of another one in that form factor, let me know. You know, and channel lock, USA made, then making it personal, and then finally playing both sides. Using the name, pushing the whole USA thing. Their website is covered with USA, made in the USA, the history of the company, you know, using American steel, yet you can also apparently license the name for overseas products. So, I'm learning a lot from the comments. Please continue. Sometimes you're asking questions or pointing out things that I didn't even think to ask. So I'm going to keep having fun with this. It's kind of an interesting exploration into what's going on as kind of the markets are in turmoil with a lot of tool companies. And with that, Doc out.